Kenny Pace. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. It was a beautiful California day. Typical Southern California here in Newport. Chicken Little was sitting out on his porch, on his deck, overlooking the sailboats. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I hit on top of the head. Well, Chicken Little, living in Southern California, had never gotten hit on the head before. And he went like this, expecting it to be something that may have flown by, but it wasn't. It was wet, and it was clear. And he looked around, and all of a sudden, up in the sky, he saw something he'd never seen before. A gray, fluffy thing. And from this gray, fluffy thing, the stuff was falling. All of a sudden, Chicken Little looked up and said, I have no idea what that is, but it's coming from the sky, so the sky must be falling. With that, he started running around to all his neighbors, screaming, something hit me on the head and it's wet and it's gray, the sky must be falling. And the neighbors looked, they had no experience with weather. They lived in Southern California. What did they know? And they said, oh, it must be true. The sky must be falling. And they started telling people. And somewhere along the line, they ran into a reporter for Fox News. They went to the Fox and said, you know, Chicken Little over there got hit on the head with something wet, the sky must be falling. Within 20 minutes, it was on Fox News. The sky is falling. 15 minutes later, it was on the internet. The sky is falling in Southern California. Now, what's the point of the story? The point of the story is the same thing that goes along with anybody who has a conspiracy theory. And that means Area 51. That means the Kennedy assassination attempts. The truthers, the birthers, anything that has to do with the conspiracy. Flight 800, it's because in the lack of facts, we make assumptions. And we make assumptions and we repeat them often enough and long enough and invent our own facts to fill those assumptions. When those assumptions are repeated enough and you hear from somebody in authority, they become beliefs. And when those beliefs are repeated enough times, in enough ways, in enough different actions with the same things, they become facts. And that is what we're facing today. We have assumptions that people make, that they turn and repeat and they hear on TV or on the internet, and those assumptions now become beliefs. You repeat them long enough and hard enough, they become facts. This is nothing new. This has been going on for years. We hear all these stories about, well, there's a lack of evidence. Ayers, let me ask you a question. Do you still beat your wife?
Still? Oh my gosh.
Well, look at the answer to that. Look at the answer. No matter how you answer that question, you're wrong. Because if you didn't beat your wife, you have to answer the question, no, I never beat up my wife. If you still beat your wife, it's an assumption that you did it one time. Now, if I believe that to be true, I'm going to walk around and I ask Aaron, did you still beat your wife? He couldn't answer me. Therefore, he still beats his wife. I have taken an assumption, turned it into a belief, and if I repeat it long enough, it becomes a fact. You know who pioneered this whole system? A bunch of little guys in Germany. It's called the big lie theory. And simply put is, when people are insecure or have fears, or don't understand, and they're worried, find their fear. Fill their fear. Make it real. Repeat it often enough and repeat it hard enough, and those assumptions, those fears, because people want to believe, will become facts. 6 million of my people died because of those assumptions that became beliefs, that became facts. Joseph Goebbels said it better than anybody else. Take one thing, make it big enough, make it loud enough, and repeat it often enough, and it will become the truth. So Chicken Little, the sky wasn't falling, it was just raining. But it shows you how such a simple little thing can turn into such a big lie. Mr. Toastmaster.
I have to say, good speech, but I am